Welcome to Fit for Function. I'm Steve Lewis. Today I want to demonstrate and show you some applications for the True Stretch in relation to golf. The True Stretch, designed by the father of function, Gary Gray, is a three-dimensional cage which allows us to basically position the body in any position or place we want to facilitate the reaction we want. It's going to facilitate mobility, motion, proprioceptive feedback, and it's generally going to just wake up the body in every plane of motion and every angulation. The key to the True Stretch is understanding the power of it and understanding how we can use it, both by using top-down drivers but also by using bottom-up drivers to get the results we want at the ankles, at the knees, hips, thoracic spine, lumbar spine, through the shoulders and cervical spine and the upper thoracic spine. And when we look at the True Stretch in relation to golf, we can certainly sequence it in a way that's really going to wake up our swing. We can position ourselves in the True Stretch so that we can really open up our backswing and really help us to get into a good position without straining through the lumbar. And also we're going to help warm up that position for that follow through again, so that we can get into a nice comfortable position at the end where again we're not straining through the lumbar spine, we're not twisting through the knees too much, and we're getting plenty of motion through the thoracic, through the hips and through the ankles and shoulders. So I'm going to show you a sequencing of a warm-up for some golf. We're going to start off first of all with the initial pullback, the initial start of the backswing. We're then going to move into the full backswing, then we're going to go part way to the follow-through, and then we're going to go all the way to the follow-through. So the sequencing goes a little bit like this. First thing, the beautiful thing about the True Stretch is we get 4 points of contact. It means that we're nice and stable. With that stability, the body is able then to release and react and allow the joints and the ligaments to really give us the motion we want. If we got stability, suddenly we've got the ability to release tension. So we're going to start off 4 points of contact and just setting ourselves up in the golf position. So I set my eyes over the ball, just fit that nice little flex tip and flex knee position, and I'm just going to hold on with my hands here and just allow my hips to go from left to right. Just waking up the frontal plane, particularly the hips here. But as the hips move, you can see as my head stays still, I'm then getting a response in my thoracic spine. And also, if you can see my feet here, you'll see that they are moving from left to right, and we're getting this motion in the frontal plane. Okay, I then move and start driving anterior and posterior in the sagittal plane. Again, go after the anterior, posterior chains of muscle and ligament and tissue. The sagittal plane is going to wake up the posterior chain, anterior chain, and really going to get those hamstrings kind of loosening up. Then move into the rotational plane, transverse plane. This is really the big power plane in golf. Again, if we get those hips rotating from left to right, you'll see that we're getting a rotational motion at the pelvis, which is facilitating a reaction at the hip joint, up through the lumbar spine into the thoracic spine, and with my head still looking over the ball, I'm also getting great reaction into my shoulders here. Okay, beautiful. If I then take down to one leg, we can then really isolate each of those motions out, particular to each side, so that we don't get a bailout from one side to the other. So again, one side, we can go left to right in the frontal plane, get loading that right hip, to right hip, and then opening up the inside of that right hip as well. Then we're going to go anterior, posterior, and again, rotation. And again, I can do the same on the other side, left to right, still keeping my golf position. I'm then going to go into my anterior, posterior, again, just waking up the glutes a little bit in the sagittal plane. Getting a lot more flexion at the hip, trying to get the hamstrings just waking up a little bit in the sagittal plane. And then this rotation here again, still getting glutes, hamstring, calf, but we're really hitting the rotational plane, the rotational motion through those joints and through those muscles and through those ligaments and tendons. Beautiful. Okay. I can then bring the upper arm and change the pre-positioning. So I'm going to take my hands and just take them into the back swing. to the initial phase where I take that club back to about here. I can then facilitate the same motion. So again, left to right motion. Now as I do this, I'm getting a little bit more direction through the posterior left shoulder now, through the frontal plane, through that left side, that lateral side. Good, go backwards and forwards into the sagittal plane. So again, just breaking down the fundamentals of the golf swing to make it very easy for us to play the game. And then we've got the rotations going smooth and steady, just allowing the body to feel the movement, just to pick up what it needs to do. What we're doing here is working on, particularly in this rotation, is working on what we call proximal acceleration. When we play golf, as we start to swing through the ball from the top swing, from the back of the swing down, the hips drive first and rotate through. At the same time, the arms stay back, which creates this lengthening through this left-hand side here. So a lengthening of all the posterior rotational tissue as the pelvis comes through. It allows us then to swing that ball through. So we're just trying to get that prepared. Beautiful. Again, we can do the same on the other side just for the purposes of symmetry. So again, golf is one of those sports where we tend to drive and accelerate in one direction and accelerate it to one hip. So in order for us to stay healthy and to stay functional for other things that we need to do, we really need to address mobility on both sides to make sure that we're equal in terms of motion in all three planes in both directions. Okay, so again, backwards and forwards, and left to right. Fantastic. Okay, let's take it to the top of the backswing now. So again, the true stretch is fantastic, and Gary's designed it so well that we've got some handle positions here that allow me to make my turn and take my hands up here to the top string. Then I can place this hand back here to really get that thoracic spine waking up now. So this is called type 1 motion, and this is very, very important for golfers. Again, I'm going to use a proximal driver. I'm going to use a bottom-up driver using the pelvis, driving backwards and forwards in the sagittal plane. Good, and really waking up my abdominals here now. Anterior right shoulder. That's fantastic. And also huge amounts of rotation, posterior left side, and through the left posterior chain. Left to right motion. Again, we can wake up this frontal plane. This is feeding right down through my neck, through my shoulders, through my thoracic, through my lumbar, into my pelvis, through my hips, into my knees and down, and it feels fantastic. And then the big move is the rotation. This is the start of the downswing where the pelvis starts to go. Again, it's a subconscious motion, but we need to make the motion available. Okay, good. We can then go to the follow through, and we do the same on the other side just for the purposes of balance. So again, take my hand up there. Again, I've got a few limitations here and it's starting to show on camera, but I'm working hard on them. Anterior, posterior, sagittal plane drive, left to right, and again we get this rotation, proximal driver. This would be very important, of course, for that initial transformational zone for a left-handed golfer as they're about to accelerate into the ball. Beautiful. Okay, so now for the follow through. I've come through the ball and boom, I've come right through. Again, this cage, the three-dimensional stretch, station and true stretch allows us to position ourselves so we can get right to a point of end transformation so that we can really get into a really nice decelerative position. So again, I'm going to use this anterior-posterior driver in the sagittal plane with my hips. Again, I'm going to just do a nice gentle left to right motion through the pelvis. Again, this is facilitating motion through all the key points of the swing. And then the big rotation in both ways. Really winding up that left hip now. Beautiful. And again, I'll do the same on the other side, which would be very important for in terms of symmetry, but particularly important as well for the follow through of a left-handed golfer. Okay, that's my golf warm-up today on this true stretch. Thanks for listening, and I'll be back with some more fit for function videos soon. Thank you.